Hey everybody, how's it going? Searching for the Sony wx900bt on YouTube didn't really reap much reward in the sense of what I can do with the head unit and some of the settings that are available with it. Mostly just people trying to sell you the unit, but people that are looking usually already have purchased the unit, so aren't really worried about features that would want them to purchase the product more. So I thought I'd just go over a few of the settings for people who are unsure. I've had it for a little while now, and basically I've had a bit of a run through and the ability to play with it a little bit. So here it is installed in my 2006 VZ Holden Commodore. There was a fascia plate that I purchased separately, which was quite nice, and as you can see, sorry about the autofocus here. The surround from the head unit itself matches quite nicely with the standard dash, as well as the settings which enable me to adjust the different lighting schemes to suit my preference of viewing, depending on where I am and what I'm doing at the time. So at night time I tend to have a nice blue with a red accentuation on the buttons and blue on the display, but you can change that to however you want. There are a tremendous amount of options for that, and that is available within the settings menu. So to access the settings menu, you press the volume and control key in. So one click takes you to a settings menu, and then you'll notice that all of the display actually turns white. This is nice because no matter what your crazy color setup, you can always depend on the color being something nice and neutral that we'll be able to return to when we're changing settings. So it's always nice and visible, which is nice. Now, SongPal is the app that pairs with the Sony head unit, and I haven't had the time to play around with that too much just yet. I did install it, but found it to be quite intrusive in how I was operating the unit before through my Bluetooth and using the forwards and back skip through Spotify and my onboard music through the phone. Samsung Galaxy S7. But skipping forward and ahead of that, we're just going to go through to some of the general settings. So moving left and right, we've gone to general. Now this will take us into the sub menu of general, and we've got the auto off function, which I do not have set. CT, which is basically settings you don't need to too much worry about. Same with demo. That turns off the demo mode, which I've selected off. Basically does a lot of flashing and changing and highlighting of features that it gets quite annoying. So make sure to turn that off within this menu as soon as you get the head unit. We go to the clock, so it's pretty important, I don't know about you, to have the right time in your vehicle, so set the clock as you see fit. And I turn the beeping off, so usually when you'll do a click or a turn, that is set to follow through with a nice beep there, and I have that off because it annoys me. And same with auto off. So that's all of the settings there through general, and using the backwards button just down here, mode or back, it takes us back one step. So now we're going to go through to sound. This is quite expensive as far as most head units go. The sound on the wx900bt has an extensive range of options that we can go through in sound. So for starters, if you've got a subwoofer hooked up, the direction of your subwoofer and mode, so you can have the SWD subwoofer dynamics, I think it is, something along the lines. Correct me if I'm wrong, I actually don't know about that. So I will be going through that a little bit more as we get more acquainted with it. But it tends to just bring more subwoofer over the speakers, and to me it makes it quite muddy, but for something like dubstep it really does does bring the subwoofer into play a lot more. So here we've got our subwoofer controls individually. We've got our levels, so obviously I've got it set at 2, but I usually set it around 0. I tune my woofer at -2, and then that way if I want to go up all the way to 10, it gives me more than enough range, and also all the way down to -10 or disattached or attach. Okay, so I set it back at 2, now press OK. Now, we've got the phase, so sometimes when your woofer, its polarities are around the wrong way, or that you feel it's not really performing in the phase with the speakers, you can just adjust that quite with reverse the polarity, or leave them as normal. I tend to leave it as normal, it sounds quite nice. subwoofer position, so this allows you to put it far or near. So if you've got a quite distant van operation and the sub's at the very back, it will perform slightly in advance to bring that sound to you at the same time as the speakers. So that's quite nice, a nice feature there. And I just leave it at normal because I'm in a sedan. And it sounds quite good. So we've got the low pass frequency here, and a lot of people will be looking, this is pretty standard. So it goes down to 50 hertz, tuning it all the way up to 120. I leave it at about 100, sometimes go down to 80 or 60, but for now, for most intents and purposes, 100 does me just great. Also considering the subwoofer is quite punchy in this setup, so I do not need to worry too much about the boominess or getting it to be quite boomy. So we've got the slope here, and I have it set at 1, but your options are 1, 2 or 3. It tends to be that it ramps up the effectiveness of that LPF, or the low pass frequency. And you've obviously got that's the settings from the subwoofer. So we go back one more menu and we go across to high pass frequency. Now within the high pass frequency, we've got the frequency itself, which I have set at 50 hertz, just to take a bit of that low end off the mids in the front. Don't really want them performing to subwoofer levels. Sometimes I have it set at 60, and if I'm really giving them a crank up, I'll turn it to 80. I still like a bit of mid bass, so I tend to just leave that at 50. We've got a high pass slope here, same as with the other one. I have the set at 2, so that it's quite ramped, for lack of a better term. Okay, so that's the options for that. For the high pass, we've got the BTA, Bluetooth audio volume. So that's set at 0, but some devices you might want to turn the preamplifier for the Bluetooth signal up so that it gets a bit more oomph. I tend to find that it's quite fine on 0, but you can adjust that, and also down. So we've got C audio, and this is a feature which I'm still unaware of, but something that people who know what that is would be quite happy to see, as well as the presets here for your equalizers. So you've got your custom salsa, reggaeton, jazz, electronica, hip hop, dance, pop, rock, R&B, and off again. So I tend to have that off. I don't like presets on the unit. I tend to do that on my device, but that's just so I get a nice flat and even sound. So we got custom here, so that's quite nice for people. We got how many bands? 11? Is it 10? 10 band equalizer, which is quite nice, especially for those who are interested in setting that. And I can see the benefit of doing such, but haven't really felt the need just yet to get quite a good sound. So position is quite good. So this will allow you to adjust the position for listening to front left, front right, front, all, and off. So I have it off just because I don't mind the speakers all playing at one time, and I don't feel the need to have a position, but it does make a dramatic difference, and I can get a good sound for different positions of the vehicle where I am. So that's quite nice as well. We've got the DSO, the digital auto correction, kind of fills in those spots of low quality MP3s, and oh no, that's not what that one does, sorry. DSO. What does that one do? Low, mid, high. I think it puts a more emphasis on the lows, the mids, or the highs. I have that turned off because I find that's annoying. Standard balance there with your left and right, and I leave it on center. You got a fader, again I leave it on center. This is the digital correction with the 24-bit, and I have that on, so that just fills in a few blanks with the 24-bit onboard encoder. Auto AAV, so that's like auto volume across tracks. I leave that off, and I think it's rear bass enhancement. I leave that off as well. I'm not too sure exactly what that means. Please clear this up, because probably shouldn't be fucking doing a tutorial if I don't actually know all the way what's going on. But fuck you and whatever. Nah, we're all learning here. We're all learning. So I just sort of go through a few of the features and give it a bit of a turn. So we'll go back again, and we're back to the subwoofer direction and the subwoofer itself. So that pretty much covers everything within the sound of the unit. We've got the display here, so we've got the button color, or button C, and display C, display color, and then we also have all, so you can set this section in here or this section here all at once or individually, which allows for some nice combinations. And sync is, well, that gets quite annoying. And M display, moving or multi-display, tends to display a little bit of movement along here when you know, bass pumping along. It's there's a bit of a, I have that turned off. Auto scroll, so it scrolls across if it doesn't fit all of your track here. SCR, obviously OLL, would then scroll across the screen. Again, I have that turned off because I don't like it. Blackout, not sure what blackout does, but I do have it turned off. I think it dims everything. Oh, that's what the dimmer will do. So dimmer, again, just dims those dims the unit itself all the way, or dimmer off, so it's quite bright. I have it on the AT, so when I turn my lights, it automatically adjusts for the time of day. So again, it's covered all of that, and we're going through to the Bluetooth. So this gives us pairing, the ringtone that you can set, so you can change the ringtone based on a few, there's two standard tones that the stereo will perform when it's ringing. Automatic answering, so it'll just pick up from here rather than on the phone, or you have to choose, it'll just come straight through your unit. And automatic pairing, so when you get in the vehicle, if your Bluetooth is enabled on your device like it is on mine, it will automatically pick that up and play directly on the stereo. Bluetooth signal, disables the signal as indicated here by the small icon, and that's just telling us that it's going to turn the signal off. And this sets the pairing, so when you're attaching a new device, you go into Bluetooth, set pairing, press that button, and it will go into a search mode, allowing you to connect new devices. So that's all there is in there. And Song Pal, the application, like I say, I haven't had a good turn on that. So that pretty much covers all of the settings we've got there. Going back to the standard, back again takes us to where our mode is. And we're currently paused because I was listening to some music just before this quick 12-15 minute video. We've got source, we've got a few buttons here. We've got source, display, so this just changes what's on the display. That's the name of the track we're listening to, so Deltron 3030. As you can see, pressing it gives you a bit more information. It's telling me it's paused still. We've got the search PTY button up here, and that allows me to go through folder options, etc. We've got the mega bass. It does put a bit more, quite a lot more bass in, but I find to turn it off is quite good. Unless I'm turning a system all the way up, I just tend to leave that off. So it sounds quite nice as it is. We can adjust the source here by pressing it, and it scrolls through the different sources available. We've got tuner, lovely. So
upset a fan. 20-year-old.
Yeah, okay, so I tell a lie, I actually do have the in display on linear, so it's got linear motion going left and right. That's a bit unnecessary. Okay, and so yeah, basically we've got the other buttons here. Call, so when you get a phone call, you can press that button there and it will pick up. You got the album selections, and yeah, you get your microphone here. I have mine mounted just up here. Oh, here it is. Just a bit of dust on there. That's nice. That's getting a bit loud. Jeez. So as you can tell, I have it set quite low most of the time. Unless when it's of course when it's going to get louder. So it's scrolling across to show us the full track name and giving linear motion, so it's quite nice. We can give it a bit of a blast and see how it sounds. That's probably most of the time what people want to hear from a head unit, but I can guarantee that it's got quite good sound. So providing that you're going.
Giant tropical centipedes.
We usually have it around 28 to 30 is as loud as I want to go, but it goes all the way up to can see, it gets everything quite dancing nicely. The amplifier V12 Alpine running a Sony standard run-of-the-mill, pretty much 12-inch in a box. I do have a Fusion John Olomu subwoofer dual voice coil, but unfortunately, rest in peace, it has currently blown the coil from an overpowering situation where I was using a 3001 ohms amplifier incorrectly. So that subwoofer is dead. Okay, so I've probably let this video go on a bit long now, so I hope I've helped some people and go through a few of the features. I'm not trying to sell you the unit. Basically, if you want it, you'll get it. It's not too expensive, $200 or $300, depending on where you are. You may be able to pick it up secondhand, although I doubt it, because if people have this unit, they are unlikely to sell it, and neither will you, because it's quite good. Peace out, and yeah, basically enjoy all the features. You get your full function infrared remote. Where is that bloody thing? Yeah, you got your remote here. Comes with that, which is quite lovely. Not a purchase thing you have to buy. Straightforward. You got your USB up the front. You got your auxiliary port right here. Plug your shit in here. Boom, you're away. Enjoy the music and be safe.